just want to say that our plan is one where we're investing in people, and we're proud of those investments. We know that families need help now, and that's why we've put forward some urgent priorities that we would work on right away. That includes investments in housing, in healthcare, helping students, tackling cell phone prices, and real and urgent action on fighting the climate crisis. We know we can do these things. We know we can invest in housing. We can make these choices. We can also ask the wealthiest to pay a little bit more so that we can make these investments in people. Really proud to be able to share this plan with you and to share our priorities with you, and looking forward to your questions. Donc aujourd'hui, ce qu'on a déjà proposé, c'est vraiment un chemin à suivre pour investir dans les gens. Pour investir dans les gens au lieu d'investir comme les libéraux et les conservateurs ont fait dans les plus riches. On veut aider et investir dans les gens qui ont besoin d'aide. So instead of giving billions of dollars to the already wealthy billionaires, our plan is to invest in people. Unlike Mr. Trudeau, who finds $14 billion to give to the richest corporations to buy limousines and jets, we want to invest in people who need housing and healthcare. We can do this, and I'm proud of the plan we have before us. And I look forward to your questions. Thank you. Oh, right here. I was looking the wrong way.
Sorry.
See the mic, you see.
Okay. All right.
Oh, there's a lineup already. There you go.
So I want to ask you about...
Do the introduction thing.
Do the what?
The introduction thing.
Oh, sorry. Hannah Thibodeau, CBC News. Hi. Okay. So I want to ask about the fact that you say that it's about the wealthiest to pay more to pay for some of your programs. One of the ways that you're going to get some money back is returning capital gains to 2000 levels. And that's for some people who maybe don't consider themselves wealthy but have tried different ways to bring up their income. What do you respond to those people saying, hey, I'm not one of the wealthiest, but you're going to do this, and that's where you're getting the biggest chunk of cash?
Well, we know that the majority of people impacted by this will be the wealthiest. There are some that will be impacted in a small way, that are not the wealthiest in society. But what we're doing is saying effectively, if you earn salary, you would pay your taxes based on salary, and we treat capital gains a little bit differently. There's still going to be an advantage. It's still going to be 25% less than if you earn that salary directly. So there's still an incentive, but we're making it closer to what people would be doing if they were just earning that salary regularly.
It's important to do this?
Well, I can say this. For New Democrats, we really believe in being prudent with our fiscal commitments, and that's why we're not just talking about investing in people, but we're actually having the courage to talk about increased revenue, something that Liberals and certainly not Conservatives aren't willing to talk about. And with that, what we're seeing over the years, the trend is there will be a reduced or a downwards trend in our debt to GDP ratio. That's because we're going to be looking at revenue, and we're going to be looking at ways to increase revenue as we make important investments. Oui, on veut être prudent. On sait qu'on a des ressources limitées. Donc, ce qu'on propose va augmenter nos revenus en même temps qu'en investissant dans les gens. Donc, on va avoir une réduction des ratios entre dette et GDP. Donc, on a le chemin où on réduit cette ratio. Ça veut dire qu'on va avoir un avenir où on peut aller à l'équilibrité. Mais on ne va jamais faire en couper des services pour les gens.
Mike Lecouture from Global National. I wanted to ask you, on your super wealth tax, aren't you making an assumption that the super wealthy will not have great accountants and be able to move things around and move assets to the other people in their family and thereby avoid this?
Well, that is a real fear that people have raised. We were very strategic about our choice of 1%. The advice we received that it would cost more to try to hide money than it would be just to pay the 1%. And that's why we chose that 1% number. We were anticipating that. And we're also going to put a lot of money towards enforcement to ensure that there is self-disclosure and that we're ensuring that people are actually following in line. And we're asking for a very modest increase, something that the wealthiest can definitely afford. And it's going to make a massive difference in the investments we can make in people.
And just as a follow-up on the returning to balanced budget, 2015, obviously, promised balanced budget. Was this a very conscious decision to continue to bring the party closer to the left and back to your roots to not balance the books because we saw the mistake that happened in 2015 under Thomas Mulcair?
Well, for me, there's a couple of reasons why. First off, I believe very strongly in investing in people, and I don't believe we build a better society or a better country by cutting services. So I'm firmly opposed to austerity. And a lot of times when people hear balanced budgets, they hear austerity and they hear cutting their services, and I don't believe in that. I do believe in being prudent, and I believe people want us to live within our means. That's why we are talking about increased revenues to be able to pay for our investments. But I am certainly very clearly opposed to cutting the services that families need. I do not want to cut in healthcare, which is already being starved of investments. So I want to invest more in people, and I'm confident that these investments will also spur more economic development and economic activity. But I'm not looking for a title, but I am very proud that I am not working for the wealthiest and the most powerful. I'm working for people. I want to make sure their lives are better, and I'm not afraid to say that.
But is it because it didn't work in 2015 that you're doing this now?
Just because it's not what I believe in. And I believe that we take care of people. I believe Canadians believe that as well, that they want to invest in things where we lift each other up. That's what I believe in. That's what Canadians believe in. That's my commitment to you.
Kevin Gallagher with CTV National News. Hello, Mr. Singh.
Hello.
By my account, it seems the largest investment in this platform has to be pharmacare, and there's some economic benefits that you and your team have talked about. But what will be the impact to the insurance industry that currently provides a lot of these drug plans for Canadians? What if Canadians don't want to abandon their private drug plans? And will it be compensation if there are job losses in that industry because of a universal pharmacare plan?
So insurance companies aren't going to like it. Probably they run a lot of ads on TV where they kind of exploit the fact that people don't have coverage. We're saying that we shouldn't have to be playing a gamble with whether people have, or a game show whether they have or do not have coverage. I want everyone to have coverage. They probably were not happy when we put in place universal health care in the first place. And when Tommy Douglas said we should have universal health care, I'm sure a lot of insurance companies said, no, we don't want that. That's going to make it harder for us. But kind of said tough. We believe people should have health care. And similarly, we believe people should have access to medication. We're the only country in the world that has a universal Medicare that doesn't have medication covered. We want to make sure that medication is covered. In terms of the impacts, there's lots of products that insurance companies provide. I'm sure they're going to be all right. But this is an important investment in people, and I'm confident we can do it, and we need to do it.
What do you plan on doing with the Trans Mountain Pipeline if elected? I don't know if I saw that in, like, are you going to sell it? Are you going to continue to own it? Like, what's the NDP plan?
Yeah, I don't think you didn't see it because I wasn't. It was one of those things that, what do we do with it? It's a complicated question. I wouldn't have bought it, and I'm really clear on that. I definitely don't believe in expanding it, so I'm clear on that. What we do with the asset is something that's kind of confusing. What we should do is first figure out how much the asset is worth. What we can do with it, what are the options? Those are things that once we're in government, we'll be able to make those assessments. But yeah, it's a pretty complicated question. It's not where I think we should be putting our dollars. I don't believe that we should be investing our public money into public infrastructure that is in the fossil fuel industry. And so I want to change that. I want all of our dollars to go towards clean and renewable energy. But Mr. Trudeau made a mistake and he bought something. And so we've got to figure out what we do moving forward. I need to be in government to figure that out. The fair answer is we don't have enough information. We don't know exactly what the value of the asset's worth and what we can get for that asset. We want to make sure we have a decision on how to move forward that is responsible. But I can tell you my values. I want all of our public dollars to go towards public infrastructure that is clean and renewable.
Hi, Mr. Singh. Ashley Burke, CBC News. How would you keep investors and businesses from fleeing Canada to avoid the significant increased tax burden your party is proposing, both the CIT increase and the capital gains changes? Won't these changes risk a lot of jobs?
So I would say we're only returning to the way things were in Canada. So Canada had these rates before and things were good. What I'm suggesting is this, that, well, if you look at our plans, we're actually going to save businesses a lot as well. With things like universal pharmacare, it's going to reduce the costs for businesses. Per employee, we've approximated about $600 in saving per employee with this plan. So it's a savings for businesses. In addition, we've met with chambers of commerce who've said that we want universal pharmacare. In fact, in my riding of Burnaby, the Chamber of Commerce endorsed the plan for universal pharmacare. They believe it's a good plan, so it's good for businesses. Second thing is, we also met with chambers of commerce around Canada who said that one of their biggest struggles to expanding business is that they don't have affordable housing in their cities, and people can't move to their cities or their communities to be able to work there. So those are two investments we're making which are going to help out business. But overall, if you look at the reasons why companies invest in a city or a community or a country, taxation is one reason, but it's not anywhere near the top reasons. And the top reasons are things that Canada excels at. Having a skilled workplace, having a safe and secure and stable government, having good services available for the people. These are the criteria that people look at, and we excel at all those.
What's your target for growth in Canada? Like, how much better do you want the country to be doing?
I believe the tools that governments have that are best at spurring the economy are when we invest directly into people. So instead of the corporate tax strategy that Mr. Harper used, where he gave blank checks to billionaire and to wealthy companies that didn't actually encourage job growth, that meant that many companies took the money and then just left. I believe in targeted investments that actually go towards communities. So with our retrofit program, those are investments that are going to create jobs in communities. They can't be offshored. They have to happen in communities. Our investments to build more housing is going to build better opportunities for work and for housing in communities. So our investments go directly to spurring the economy, and our plans go directly into reducing costs for people as well as businesses. I think this is the best way to invest money.
Bonjour, M. Singh, Christian Noël, Radio-Canada.
Bonjour.
Je vais peut-être caricaturer le cadre financier que vous avez, mais c'est un cadre financier qui est dépensier et qui n'a pas de retour prévu à l'équilibre budgétaire, éventuellement, mais on ne dit pas quand. Pour un nouveau parti démocratique qui veut avoir l'air prudent, transparent et qui s'occupe bien des affaires financières, est-ce que vous n'êtes pas en train de manquer la marque? Vous avez un budget qui est dépensier, vous ne savez pas quand est-ce que vous allez revenir à zéro. Comment vous allez convaincre les Canadiens avec ça que vous allez bien gérer les finances publiques?
Donc, on a beaucoup de preuves dans le passé avec les gouvernements provinciaux. Les gouvernements néo-démocrates ont bien géré leur budget. Mais ce qu'on peut faire pour le gouvernement fédéral, depuis des décennies, on a vu des coupures dans le revenu, coupures dans les services. Donc, on veut changer ça. C'est une direction mauvaise pour le Canada, pour la société. Donc, à cause des mauvaises décisions depuis beaucoup des années, il faut avoir le courage de tourner la direction. Et pour faire ça, il faut augmenter les revenus et augmenter les investissements dans les gens.
Dans les plus grandes dépenses que vous avez, assurance médicaments, service de garde universel, le Québec a déjà ces programmes-là. Comment vous espérez gagner des votes au Québec, là, ou garder des sièges au Québec, là où vous avez besoin de le faire, alors que vous offrez des choses qu'ils ont déjà, donc ils n'ont pas besoin?
Donc, un exemple, quand on parle de l'assurance médicaments universelle, oui, le Québec était avant-gardiste, c'est clair. Mais maintenant, le programme qui existe, ça coûte trop cher. C'est un des plus chers programmes à travers le monde. Et ça veut dire que les gens doivent payer trop cher pour leur assurance privée, parce que c'est un système assurance privée, publique mélangé. Donc, j'ai rencontré quelqu'un qui travaille dans une épicerie au Québec. Il m'a dit qu'elle doit payer une grande partie de son salaire pour l'assurance privée à cause de le système qui existe au Québec. Donc, ce qu'on propose va sauver beaucoup d'argent pour les gens au Québec parce qu'avec l'assurance privée, il y a plusieurs personnes qui n'ont pas de couverture adéquate, de un. Deuxièmement, ça coûte trop cher. Donc, ce qu'on propose va sauver l'argent au moyen pour les gens au Québec, $500 par année et peut-être plus pour les gens qui ont des assurances privées. Donc, ce qu'on propose va vraiment réduire les coûts pour les Québécois et les Québécoises dans une manière concrète. Aussi, beaucoup de syndicats syndicaux au Québec ont dit que oui, il faut aller de l'avant avec une assurance publique universelle parce que ça va aider les travailleurs et les travailleuses. Donc, ils ont aussi dit ça. Donc, je sais que ça va aider du monde. Avec nos plans pour limiter les frais cellulaires, ça va directement aider tout le monde qui utilise les cellulaires parce qu'on paye le plus cher à travers le monde pour nos services de cellulaire et Internet. Donc, avec notre plan pour le plafonner, quelque chose que les États-Unis et l'Australie a fait, ça va aussi sauver beaucoup d'argent pour les gens au Québec.
Oui, bonjour, Monsieur Singh. J'aimerais revenir à la question de ma collègue de CBC, Mme Ashley. Elle vous parlait de l'impact d'augmenter de manière radicale les revenus provenant des entreprises. Vous dites on revient à ce qui existait, mais si c'était ce qui existait il y a 20 ans quand même, en 2000. La question, c'est d'augmenter à ce point les revenus. Est-ce que ça ne peut pas avoir un impact sur l'économie qui va venir, dans le fond, changer tous les scénarios sur lesquels vous vous appuyez?
Je pense que ce qu'on va faire, c'est quelque chose que les entreprises peuvent faire parce que on va faire aussi en même temps des investissements qui vont réduire les coûts pour les entreprises. Comme l'assurance médicament universelle, ça va vraiment sauver l'argent pour les entreprises. En même temps, oui, la taxation, c'est un enjeu quand on parle de où les entreprises investissent leur argent, mais ce n'est pas le plus important. Le plus important sont quelle sorte de service à un pays, la stabilité du gouvernement, la stabilité du pays. Beaucoup des autres enjeux touchent la question de pourquoi on investit dans un pays. Et pour moi, c'est clair que les entreprises vont continuer d'investir au Canada à cause de le bénéfice qu'on donne aux gens.
Oui, mais je comprends que vous voulez investir dans les citoyens, mais la question, c'est d'augmenter de manière importante, d'un coup, la taxation sur les entreprises. Est-ce que ça ne va pas changer l'activité économique et donc tout le scénario de statu quo sur lequel vous vous appuyez sur les revenus corporatifs? Est-ce que ça va être encore au rendez-vous?
Je comprends la question. Moi, je pense qu'avec nos investissements, ça va augmenter l'économie parce qu'on investit directement dans des programmes qui vont créer des activités économiques dans les communautés. Donc, nos investissements pour créer plus de logements abordables à travers le pays, ça va créer des opportunités économiques. Nos investissements pour la rénovation de chaque maison et bâtiment, ça va aussi créer des opportunités économiques dans les communautés. Donc, je pense qu'avec les investissements directement dans l'infrastructure publique, dans le transport en commun, dans les services comme ça va donner plus d'activités économiques et ça va utiliser notre puissance comme gouvernement fédéral directement dans les communautés pour augmenter les activités.
Alex Ballingal, Toronto Star.
Hi there.
The head-to-toe healthcare that you've been promising. Oh, sorry, that's actually me. Sorry.
Can someone turn off their cell phone, please? Someone's got a
My
cell
9
phone.
a.m. alarm. It's the head-to-toe healthcare.
Everyone looked and said, is it 9 a.m. already?
It's already 9 a.m. Head-to-toe healthcare. So you've obviously promised a number of things like the eye care, ear care, addiction services, mental health. When will those things actually sort of come into the picture for you if you win government? And how much will they cost? And how will that change this fiscal plan that you're proposing?
Yeah, so we're starting with two big commitments. We're starting with our pharmacare and our dental care. Those are two massive commitments, and our vision is always going to be head-to-toe healthcare. We know that with some of these investments, we're hoping and we've seen that there's been a realization of savings as well. And so we know with the investments in a universal pharmacare, it's going to create an opportunity to reduce our costs because people are going to be able to stay healthy, not need to go to the hospital, not need to get into a position where their illness gets worse. So there's some savings that we're hoping to realize. We haven't factored those in to our plans, but we're hoping that those are going to realize some savings. We're pretty confident that's going to be the case, and we're hoping to then make more investments with the savings that we realize into the programs we want to deliver, which include vision care and hearing care and more mental health services. So this is a start. It's a bold start. It's a big start, but our plan is still to make sure our healthcare system truly covers people from head to toe.
Do you have a timeline for that, or is it just sort of like an aspiration eventually?
It is an aspiration, but it's something that we're going to see once we start making these big investments and we start realizing some of the savings. Then we want to start looking at how we can continue to expand. Our big difference is this. We've seen years and years where Liberals and Conservatives have been cutting healthcare spending and effectively have shifted the 50-50 balance that used to exist between the federal government and the provincial government to a 25-75. We want to return to a point where we're investing massively to help build a system that actually takes care of people whenever they need care so that people don't have to rely on their benefits. And these are our two big steps, and we're hoping to continue to work on that.
Hi, Mr. Singh. Sarah Turnbull from
there.
ctvnews.ca. Your plan relies heavily on a pretty solid economy. What happens when, do you have safeguards in place for when we face, or if and when we face an economic downturn?
Yes, we've put in place a contingency plan in our budgeting, which accounts for some unpredictability with some of our revenue and perhaps some unpredictability with the economy. So we factor that into our planning.
How are you speaking to, our economy right now is largely lifted on the backs of the knowledge economy, innovators and entrepreneurs. How are you speaking to them in this plan?
So a couple of things for young people who are contemplating going to university or not, faced with a massive debt, they might not make that decision. We know that people want a skilled workplace, and right now it's becoming less and less appealing to go to university. One of the first steps that we're doing that's going to massively make it less scary to go into university is that with the federal loans right now, there's an interest that's charged. And that means that the debt is growing, or when you try to pay it back, you're paying back some principal and some interest. So we're going to immediately lift the interest off of all federal student loans. That's going to help students out immediately, encourage people to go to university and continue to get educated. For folks in the knowledge economy, some startup companies, they don't often are able to provide benefits to their employees, which they would love to be able to do. We're providing coverage for dental and for pharmacare. That's going to make it a country that's more desirable for companies to set up, to grow, to expand their businesses. We understand that the future of our economy is going to depend on the knowledge sector. It's something that I'm going to continue to work with the leaders in those fields to look at how else we can create a climate where those companies can expand and grow. But we know cell phone and internet services are things that we want to cap to provide them with better abilities to connect, and that the services we provide will make sure that their workers are more able to be productive and contribute.
Good morning, Mr. Singh. I'm Charlie Pingerton from iPolitics.
Hey there.
I don't think this budget includes anything related to foreign policy. We've seen other parties propose things like canceling the Asian Infrastructure Bank. So it just begs the question, what is the NDP's #1 priority abroad if elected?
I just want to make one quick contrast. When Mr. Scheer talks about cutting foreign aid, he's completely missing the point that the wealthiest aren't paying their fair share. And that's very much in line with the Conservatives. They want you to believe that the only way to raise revenue is to cut investments in building a better world. That's the big contrast with us. We believe we can actually ask the wealthiest in society to pay a little bit more and to invest in our programs. But in terms of our priorities around the world, Canada has been known and should be known as a leader in diplomacy and peacekeeping. And I think that's an important role that we play. And so we need to continue to call out injustices around the world. And I'll be prepared to do that. I have done it. I'll continue to do that. And being a part of a solution towards peace and diplomacy, and always encouraging those options for resolving conflict, as opposed to some of the posturing we've seen from Mr. Trump and some of the dangerous decisions he's made. There needs to be a voice of reason in the world, and I think Canada can play that strong role.
All right, and it's a good thing you brought up Mr. Scheer. I want to ask you about him. He's someone who's worked in federal politics in Canada for a long time, much longer than yourself. Why would you be a better representative of Canada than him on the world stage?
Well, I think the decision in terms of governance comes down to who you're governing for. And when we talk about trade deals, some of the things that impact Canadians directly are the types of trade deals that we make or we negotiate. And the priority in those trade deals for me as a New Democrat and me as leader are going to be, are we entering into agreements that benefit workers? Whereas we've seen with Conservatives in the past, like Mr. Harper and with Mr. Trudeau, the priority has been, will this trade deal increase GDP or will it benefit those at the very top? But they haven't actually paid attention to whether it actually benefits working people. And we see that in direct results of the negotiations. The newly negotiated NAFTA does not put in place protections for workers that are enforceable, does not put in place enforceable protections for the environment. So it's nice words, but not really any concrete action to help out workers. It also is going to increase the cost of medication, and it seriously threatens dairy farmers. So the decisions made have not benefited workers. The difference with me and someone like Mr. Scheer or someone like Mr. Trudeau is that I'll make decisions that benefit people, not the wealthiest.
Why would Canada remain immune to an economic slowdown that seems to be on the horizon?
I think that we've got a really unique set of criteria that makes us a country that companies want to invest in. And we're a place that's got stability, a place that's got great services, and we're going to expand those services. But that's something that you can't predict, and if it happens, we'll be ready to respond with prudent measures to make sure that Canadians never see any cuts to their services, but we continue to make the right decisions to keep our country moving forward.
After the U.S. tax cuts came in, the business community was really nervous about corporate tax competitiveness issues in Canada vis-a-vis North America. And the thinking was that Canada needed to cut more to avoid killing economic growth. This would totally ignore those pressures and head in the opposite direction with a big hike. What do you say to that?
Well, we know countries around the world are in a similar position as us, have increased their revenues, and they've got great economies. We can look to examples in Europe and in Scandinavia. So what we're proposing is just balancing out what has been for a long time an unbalanced situation where the wealthiest are not contributing their fair share, and families are asked to contribute their share, and they're not getting services that they need. I believe we need to change that, and I'm proud that we're willing to take that on.
Bonjour, Monsieur Singh.
Bonjour.
Est-ce que j'ai bien compris, la couverture d'assurance santé de la tête aux pieds n'est pas complètement écrite dans votre cadre financier? Il y a encore des trous. Est-ce que c'est ça que j'ai compris? Et si oui, quels sont les trous?
Ils sont des autres choses les autres choses qu'on va avancer qui n'ont pas dans ce budget. Donc, ce qu'on a proposé maintenant, des grandes étapes avec l'assurance médicaments universels et les soins dentaires nationaux. Et les soins dentaires nationaux, c'est un programme fédéral, c'est un programme comme une assurance qui va donner de la couverture pour 4 millions de Canadiens et Canadiennes de maintenant. Et on va aller plus loin. On va avoir les couvertures pour les soins oculaires, les soins pour les oreilles. On sait qu'il faut faire plus pour s'assurer qu'on a plus de services en soins de santé mentale. On a commencé avec des investissements pour régler la crise d'opioïdes. Donc, on va faire des investissements pour avoir plus de réhabilitation, des services de réhabilitation et aussi des services de santé mentale. Mais le plus de faire, ce qu'on veut faire, c'est de prendre des grandes étapes envers la couverture tête aux pieds. Et ce sont les deux éléments qu'on va commencer avec, des dentaires et l'assurance médicaments universelle.
Donc, la couverture tête aux pieds ne sera pas réalisée dans un possible, éventuel premier mandat. Ça serait après.
Ce qu'on a proposé, c'est ces deux éléments vont créer aussi on peut sauver l'argent avec ça. Donc, on n'a pas ajouté ces éléments dans le document de maintenant parce qu'on va réaliser ces savings. Donc, après qu'on réalise ces choses, on peut continuer d'investir pour réaliser la couverture tête aux pieds. Donc, avec ces deux commencements, on peut commencer dans la chemin pour atteindre le but, c'est vraiment la tête aux pieds, couverture. C'est pas exactement clair parce qu'avec les savings, peut-être on peut commencer à augmenter ce qu'on a proposé, mais avec ces deux étapes, on a commencé de faire ce qu'on veut faire.
Oui, M. Singh, je veux juste revenir à Trans Mountain. Je comprends que vous n'avez pas les chiffres entre les mains, vous n'êtes pas au gouvernement. Ça, je comprends. Mais votre intention, est-ce que c'est de vendre Trans Mountain si vous prenez le pouvoir?
En fait, je peux dire mon intention, c'est de s'assurer que tout notre argent public va à l'infrastructure qui est d'énergie renouvelable et de l'énergie propre. Donc ça, c'est mes valeurs. Et comment j'y arrive, il faut savoir exactement c'est quoi la situation avec cette chose qu'on a maintenant, c'est dans notre propriétaire. Donc, il faut savoir c'est quoi les détails, c'est quoi exactement ce qu'on peut faire. Mais ma but, c'est de toujours utiliser chaque dollar, chaque sou de notre argent public vers des projets renouvelables et propres.
Je ne comprends pas ce que vous avez besoin de savoir pour déterminer que si vous, Jagmeet Singh, Premier ministre, vous dites « je veux vendre Trans Mountain, je ne veux plus être propriétaire de ça », pourquoi vous ne nous le dites pas, ça?
Mais effectivement, c'est ce que je veux faire. Je ne veux pas continuer d'avoir ownership sur un pipeline. Ce n'est pas de mes valeurs. Mais je ne sais pas qu'est-ce qu'il va faire, c'est quoi la mesure la plus prudente. Donc, je ne veux pas prendre un engagement sans savoir c'est quoi la meilleure façon d'aller de l'avant. Donc, pour moi, je veux s'assurer que chaque sou qu'on a maintenant d'investir, ça va aux infrastructures publiques qui sont renouvelables ou énergie propre. Mais à ce moment, je ne sais pas c'est quoi la meilleure façon d'aller de l'avant parce que je ne sais pas tous les détails.
Sorry, just to follow up on that, if you are so opposed to it, why can't you say right now you will sell it if you become Prime Minister?
Yeah, because I don't know what the exact value is of the asset and what the best way to move forward is. And I want to commit to a path of action without knowing those details. I can tell you what I want to do is make sure that not a cent of our public dollars go towards infrastructure that is not renewable or creating clean energy. That's what I want to do. That's my goal. And how I achieve that goal depends on what the most prudent way is to go ahead. And so I'll make sure I make a decision that is in the best interest of Canadians. But my values are this. I don't want any of our public dollars going towards continuing or maintaining any infrastructure that's not clean or renewable.
I just want to follow up on the head-to-toe healthcare. Technically, your platform does not cost out head-to-toe healthcare. So why do you continue to talk about head-to-toe healthcare if it's now just aspirational that you'll have eye and mental health? If the numbers aren't in here, it's not technically head-to-toe healthcare anymore.
Well, that's our goal. That's something really important. And
if you're saying to voters it will be head-to-toe healthcare, they're expecting that in the first mandate. So is it just not going to come in the first mandate now?
well, this is what we're going to do is we're going to start with those two big steps. And we know that with increasing investments in universal pharmacare for all and in dental care, that's going to create a savings. And we're not putting those savings into our documents now, but we know we're going to really realize some savings. With those savings, we're going to continue to expand and build towards that head-to-toe coverage. It's a commitment. It's a value. When you vote for New Democrat, you know what you're getting. You know that we believe in the ultimate goal of making sure our healthcare system is there for people when they need it. And those are our commitments. And I'm proud to make that commitment in front of you now. And I know that we're going to realize some savings, and we're going to make those investments back into the healthcare system to continue to expand. So what you get with New Democrats is every time we can, we're not going to cut healthcare, we're going to expand it. And our goal being head-to-toe healthcare coverage.
Mr. Singh, Kevin Gallagher, CTV National News. So there's $25 million allocated for a national autism strategy. Can you just give us an understanding of what that would mean for families? What does that $25 million get them?
Well, we know that there's a lot of tough times for families that are right now facing massive cuts in autism services. And those cuts have hurt families here in Ontario, and they've hurt families in provinces across Canada. And so what we're proposing is, what a lot of experts have asked for is we need to come forward with a strategy that allows us to have a partnership at the federal level to see what we can do to tackle the lack of investments and the lack of services. And so we're putting dollars up front, and we want to develop a strategy, and we're putting money behind developing the strategy so that nationwide we've got an approach to help families that are suffering with cuts, that don't get the services they need, and want to look to national leadership to what we can do to actually deliver those services.
But I mean, that we're lacking specifics here. So are we talking about more therapists? Are we talking about more centers dedicated? Like, give us some specifics about what that would get families.
Yeah, we're developing the plan, and we're saying that we want to develop a national strategy. We're putting dollars behind developing that strategy. So that's exactly it. We're going to sit down and meet with the experts and with families and say, you tell us what we need to be developing. We've got the money to make sure we develop a national strategy that actually helps out families. That's what experts have been asking for, and we know families need it, and we're ready to deliver that. The funding for creating the plan.
How do you get at the $25 million then? If you have you not talked to experts yet to arrive at that number?
We know when you want to develop a national strategy, it needs to have money behind it. And we looked at other national strategies and how much money has been committed to developing a national strategy. And this is an amount that's a meaningful amount that helps us fund a strategy that could be national and that could have enough dollars to actually make it happen.
Je voudrais juste revenir au Trans Mountain. C'est un pipeline qui est profitable en ce moment. Il rapporte environ 300 millions de dollars par année au gouvernement. Est-ce que c'est pour ça que vous hésitez? Vous ne voulez pas vous couper de cette source de revenus en annonçant que vous le vendriez?
C'est en fait, la réalité, je ne sais pas c'est quoi la meilleure façon d'aller de le vendre parce que je ne sais pas tous les détails. Est-ce qu'il y a une façon de le vendre? Est-ce qu'il y a une façon de faire quelque chose qu'on peut s'assurer qu'on a un retour dans nos investissements qui donne un avantage pour les Canadiens? Je ne sais pas c'est quoi les résultats. Ce que je peux dire, pour moi, c'est clair, mes valeurs sont, je ne veux pas continuer d'investir dans le secteur fossile. Je veux annuler les subventions pétrolières. Je veux s'assurer qu'aucun de notre argent public va à des infrastructures fossiles, énergie fossile. Donc, ça, c'est ce que je veux faire.
En arrivant au pouvoir, Jagmeet Singh, il prend ça. Qu'est-ce que vous pourriez découvrir à propos de Trans Mountain qui vous ferait dire « non, on ne va pas le vendre » ?
C'est exactement la question que je vais poser quand je suis dans la position de savoir tous les détails. Je veux prendre des décisions prudentes. Je veux aller de l'avant dans une manière où on investit dans l'énergie propre, l'énergie renouvelable. Et je vais prendre des décisions basées sur toutes les informations. Et c'est difficile de prendre un engagement sans savoir tous les détails. Mais ce que je peux dire, je ne veux pas l'augmenter, je ne veux pas bâtir un nouveau. Je suis contre l'expansion. Et ce sont mes valeurs. Merci beaucoup. Thank you. Thank you, Angela.